Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about the Cincinnati Reds of the late 60s into the 1970s, and this guy should ring a bell because he eventually became a batting champion in 1970, but unfortunately, he's been lost in the midst of time because he didn't really draw attention to himself, a very workmanlike player, and he basically did what he was asked to do, just hit the ball. Alex Johnson, now this American pro baseball player, took the field in MLB from 64 to 76 for the Phillies, the Cardinals, the Reds, the Angels, the Indians, the Rangers, the Yankees, and the Tigers. He was the National League Comeback Player of the Year in 68, an American League All-Star and batting champion in 1970. His brother Ron was an NFL running back, most notably for the New York Giants. Now, born in Helena, Arkansas, he grew up in Detroit with two brothers and sisters. One brother, again Ron Johnson, was NFL running back from 69 to 76. Alex played sandlot ball with Bill Freehan, Willie Horton, and Dennis Rebant. Now, Johnson attended Northwestern High School, where he excelled as an offensive lineman for the school's football team. He received a scholarship offer to attend MSU to play football for the Michigan State Spartans, but opted to sign with the Phillies instead. Now, when Johnson worked his way up the ranks quickly in the Phillies farm system, he batted .322 with 40 home runs and 187 runs batted in across 2 seasons to earn a spot in the Phillies bench for the start of the '64 campaign. However, he was optioned back to Arkansas Travelers of the PCL without having logged a Major League at bat in order to make room on a Major League roster for elite pitcher Ed Roebuck, who was acquired from the Senators shortly after the season started. Now, Johnson soon earned a call back up to the majors as he batted .316 with 21 home runs and 71 RBIs in just over half a season with Arkansas. In his MLB debut, he went 3 for 4 with a walk, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. He remained hot for his first month in the majors, batting .400 with 1 home run and 9 RBIs through August. He eventually settled into a lefty-righty platoon with Wes Covington in left field, which he would do throughout the '65 season. That October, the Phillies traded Johnson, Pat Corrales, and Art Mahaffey to the Cardinals for Bill White, Dick Roth, and Bob Uecker. Now, to make room for Johnson in left field, St. Louis shifted Hall of Famer Lou Brock to right field. Along with Curt Flood in center, the Cardinals boasted one of the top young outfields in the National League heading into the '66 season. However, Johnson struggled, batting just .186 with 2 homers and 6 RBIs through May 17th when he was sent down to the Tulsa Oilers of the AAA PCL. That year, he was named the most dangerous hitter in the PCL. Now, Johnson returned to Cardinals in '67, batting .223 with 1 home run and 12 RBIs, mostly as a pinch hitter, and back up to the great Roger Maris in right field. The Cardinals then defeated the Boston Red Sox in the World Series that year, though Johnson did not appear in the postseason. Just before spring training '68, he was traded to the Reds for Dick Simpsons. Now, Pete Rose, a left fielder in Cincinnati '67, was shifted to right field for '68. Mac Jones, the future Expo, a left-handed hitter acquired from the Braves shortly before Johnson, was the early favorite to inherit the left field job. While Johnson was labeled as moody and uncoachable during his days with St. Louis and Philadelphia, he impressed Reds manager Dave Bristol so much that spring and he was given a starting job in left field. And even though a left-handed bat would have been more suitable for Reds lineup, he stayed there for most of the campaign. Now, by the time Johnson joined the Reds, he had a reputation as a notoriously slow starter. After batting .259 with 4 RBIs through April, Johnson got hot in May, batting .366 to move in the National League batting race. He finished the season at .312, fourth in the league behind Rose and 2 of the Alou brothers, Matty and Felipe, to be named the Sporting News National League Comeback Player of the Year. Though his potential hit for power was recognized throughout his early career, he entered the '69 season having just hit 17 career home runs. He matched that total in '69, while also driving a career-high 88 runs and scoring a career-high 86. He also finished 6th in the NL with a .315 average. Now, despite his hitting prowess, Johnson was an offensive liability and led the National League outfielders in errors both seasons in Cincinnati. In need of pitching, and with outfield prospect Bernie Carbo ready to jump to the majors, the Reds dealt Johnson and utility infielder Chico Ruiz, the Angels for Pedro Bobo, Jim McLaughlin, and Vern Geisart. Now, Johnson hit the ground running in California, leading the league with a .366 batting average through May. He cooled off as the '70 season progressed, but still went in the All-Star break at .328 to earn a selection to the L squad. He remained in the batting title race throughout the season and went in the final game of the year with a batting average which was .002 behind Boston's Carl Yastrzemski. In the last game of the campaign against the White Sox, Johnson went 2 for 3 to win the AL batting title by .0004 over Yastrzemski. He was removed from the game after his third at-bat to ensure the title. Now, Johnson became the subject of some controversy toward the end of first season in California when he's fined by Angel manager Lefty Phillips for not running out a grounder. This continued in the following spring when Phillips fined Johnson $100 for loafing an exhibition game. The following day, Phillips removed Johnson from a second exhibition after he failed to run out a first-inning grounder. Now, things did deteriorate during the 71 regular season as Johnson was benched a trio times in May for indifferent play. On June 4th, he was pulled in the first inning of a 10-0 loss to the Red Sox when he failed to run all the way at first on a routine ground ball. After being replaced by Tony Gonzalez in left field, Johnson intimated that some of his battles with teammates and management were racially motivated. Hell yes, I'm bitter. I'm even better ever since I learned I was black. The society in which I was born in which I grew up in which I play ball today is anti-black. My attitude is nothing more than a reaction of their attitude. Now, following a June 13 loss to the Washington Senators, Johnson claimed that Chico Ruiz, who had been a close friend and was the godfather of Johnson's adopted daughter, pointed a gun at him while the two were in the clubhouse. Ruiz denied the claim. Now, Johnson, limited as a fielder, stopped taking outfield practice before games. In June, after a potential trade deadline with the Brewers for Tommy Harper fell through, Johnson told reporters that he needed to get out of California and that playing in hell would be an improvement. Johnson was then benched after he loafed on 2 balls hit to him in left field against Milwaukee, which resulted in a 5-inning fourth inning for the Brewers and failed to run out a ground ball in the final at-bat in the ninth. Phillips put it simply, if you have seen him play lately, you know he isn't in the lineup. Why he wasn't in the lineup? By the end of June, Johnson had been benched 5 times and fined 29 times. On June 26, Angels GM Dick Walsh suspended him without pay indefinitely and not using his best efforts. Now, Marvin Miller, the executive director of Major League Baseball Players Association, immediately filed a grievance against the Angels on Johnson's behalf, claiming that Walsh failed to properly outline the basis for the suspension in specific terms. His case, however, was weakened when Johnson defended his action rather than denied the claims made against him by his ball club. He admitted to not being in a spirit to play properly as the whole team was indifferent towards playing together. Miller eventually ended up filing a grievance on Johnson's behalf, suggesting that Johnson was emotionally disabled. Now, regardless of the grievance, Phillips remained defiant that Johnson would be not returning to his ball club. Phillips' stance was perhaps due to the fact that his fourth-place team was suddenly playing better, 17-11 in the month of July, now that Johnson was in the lineup. When a meeting between Miller and the owner's players' relation committee on July 21st failed to resolve the grievance, it went to an independent arbitrator. Now, after a 30-day suspension, the longest Angels could give, Commissioner Boy Kuhn placed Johnson on a restricted list, allowing the Angels to continue the suspension. On August 10th, Phillips, the Angels coaches, and 6 players, including team captain Jimmy Fregosi, met with Kuhn's labor advisor John Guerin, who was part of the 3-man arbitration panel attempting to resolve the case, along with Miller and professional arbitrator Lewis Gill of the National Labor Board. On August 31st, the panel indefinitely postponed a decision on Johnson's appeal and indicated that we're likely to come to agreement before the end of the regular season. Now, the Angels' case against Johnson hit a snag on September 7th when the Chicago Sun-Times reported that Walsh had lied about the gun incident with Ruiz and ordered that the weapon be concealed. Based on the findings of the 2 psychiatrists, Gill found in favor of Johnson, determined that emotional disturbance was no worse than a physical ailment, and that the Angels should have not suspended him, but rather should have placed Johnson on a disabled list. Johnson was awarded $29,970 in back pay, as players on the disabled list still receive full pay. However, Gill upheld the $3,750 in fines he received from the team. Now, after the season, the Angels cleaned house. Phillips and Walsh were both fired. Ruiz was released, and Johnson was traded to Indians with Jerry Moses for Vienna Pinson, Alan Foster, and Frank Baker. Now, while more emotional disturbance followed Johnson to his new club when Ruiz was killed in an auto accident on February 1972, Johnson attended the funeral. Johnson got off to a fast start for the Indians as his batting average reached .328 on May 6, but a 6 for 66 slump, yeah, that's a sign of something, brought his average down to .28 by June. Johnson appeared to be rebounding when he learned that Phillips, who had been rehired by the Angels as a scout, had had a fatal asthma attack on June 12th. He then went to a 5 for 37 slump that dropped his season average to 219. Now, Johnson's hitting problems were blamed on a heel injury, which limited him to pinch hitting during the first half of August. He resumed his role as everyday left fielder on August 19th and batted .351 over the rest of the season. Now, when Johnson held out for a new contract with the Indians the following spring, he was unable to reach an agreement, and he eventually traded him to the Rangers for pitchers Rich Hinton and Vince Colbert. Rangers manager Whitey Herzog made it clear upon his team's acquisition of Johnson that he would release Johnson immediately if he turned out to be a discipline problem with his club. However, when the AL's institution of the designated hitter rule in '73, Johnson was able to provide strong offensive production for the Rangers without hindering his team defensively, and soon won over his new manager. He appeared on 116 games at DH, while spelling an occasional day off for the great Rico Cardi, and left in an additional 40 games, and batted .287 with 8 homers and 68 RBIs. His 179 hits were the fifth most in the AL, but he held the Senators-Rangers franchise record in that category until 1979. Now, he became an everyday outfielder again when Billy Martin took over as the Rangers manager towards the end of the '73 season. At first, Johnson and Martin got along, but by the time the Rangers sold Johnson's contract to the Yankees on September 9, '74, Martin had also gotten fed up with him. Now, Johnson joined the Yankees club that was in first place by one game over the Orioles in the American League East. In his first game as a Yankee, he hit an extra innings home run to defeat the Red Sox. It was, however, his only highlight with the Yankees, as he batted just .214 in 10 games with his new club, as the Orioles won the division by 2 games. Now, he started the '75 campaign as the Yankees' regular DH, but a knee injury limited his role. After Billy Martin was named Yankees manager on August 2nd, Johnson logged just 9 more at-bats before his release on September 2nd. Now, when Johnson signed with his hometown Detroit Tigers for the '76 season, he enjoyed something of a resurgent year, as he batted .268 with 6 home runs and 45 RBIs as the team's everyday left fielder. Regardless, he was released at the end of the season. He played briefly with the Mexican League's Diablo Rojos del Mexico before retiring. Now, after Johnson retired, he returned to Detroit in '85 after his father's death, took over Johnson Trucking Service, which was founded by his father, Arthur, in the 1940s. The company rents dump trucks to construction companies. In '98, he told Sports Illustrated, "To enjoy my life," Johnson says rhetorically, "I enjoy not being on the airplane all the time. I enjoy not having to face everything I did. I just want to help people with their vehicles. It's a nice, normal life to think I've always wanted." Now, Johnson married Julia Augusta in '63, and he adopted daughter Jennifer in '69, and had a son Alex Jr. in '72. Alex and Julia unfortunately divorced after his baseball career ended. Now, Johnson unfortunately passed away on February 28, 2015 from complications of prostate cancer. So, in 4,623 at-bats, 13 and 31 hits, 72 homers, 525 RBIs, 113 solid stolen bases, with a .288 batting average. Now, see, here the thing is, lost potential in situations. You might as well say that Alex Johnson might have been one what's the term is bipolar, but the psychological aspect of being a black man of his era under a lot of stress. He was an enormous talent. That 1970 season, again, that's considered one of the best in Angels history. But like I said, sometimes your own worst enemy. I only know as much about this. If he would have played in a softer area like the Expos, or something with less pressure where black people were more accepted, but it was a rough go. But Alex Johnson, like I said, $1 million talent, but a troubled person. And if anybody knows about trouble, I covered athletes 3 years, especially in hockey, suffering from concussion syndrome. I really think Alex, with the right coach, or the right batting coach, could have easily hit .320 career average. I mean, he was hitting basically with no direction, close to 300 for his whole career. But Alex Johnson, to me, one of the forgotten stars of the what he called the modern MLB era. So that's the story of Alex Johnson. If you like what you're doing here with our podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.